Okay, everybody can hear us? Good. Let me turn down this volume on this side. Or you turn down yours, Trey.
Oh, mine's off. I'm off.
You are. Anybody else? If somebody said they see Andre, do they see Kendrick? Greg Curtis Jr.?
Good to see y'all. How's everybody doing?
Okay, do they see me or they see you, Dre?
They should see us both.
Oh, you see two people, one or two. Okay, we're just making sure all the technical ends are properly handled before we move forward because we don't want any glitches to stop while I'm giving this webinar. Yes, I can hear and see. Okay, everybody can hear and see.
Cool.
Good. We have full attendance. So, I don't know if Andre, you want to self-introduce? You want me to kind of...
All right, let's get this thing started. Like, for starters, let me introduce myself. My name is Andre Brown. I manage a music producer by the name of Rick Rude. And I've been in the game for quite a few years, and we've had a pretty extensive track record in the business. And I kind of saw music business success as being very necessary because when I first got into business, I would go to conventions and so on and so forth, and you end up spending all this money trying to attend these conventions and stuff to get your music heard, and it just wasn't happening. When it was all said and done, you kind of ended up with a bunch of business cards, but not any real relationships, and you really got nothing accomplished. How many of you guys have been to some sort of music conference before? Okay, so basically we just want to create an opportunity for you guys to be able to get your music heard, get real critiques, but also give you knowledge about the business and how everything works. So, again, if you're just joining us, I want you to go to facebook.com/musicbusinesssuccess and like our page. And you'll also see that there is a post that says Music Business Success Q&A, and this is where we'll be taking all of your questions, okay? So, with that being said, let's go ahead. I'm going to turn it over to Kendrick. Kendrick can, give an introduction about himself. We'll get into a few things, and as I'm going through you guys' questions, then we'll go from there in terms of diving into your individual questions, but Kendrick is going to give a little bit of information about himself right now. So, Kendrick.
Okay, it seems like it's a delay. Shante Brown. Check that out. But, Andre, what I want you to do is I want you to type in that Facebook link.
Yeah, I did already.
You did? Okay. I sent it to them. All right. Well, while we work out the kinks of this delay, it looks like there's a little bit of a delay. I'll go ahead and start in the interest of time. My name is Kendrick Dean. I am a record producer, songwriter, and I've been in the industry on a professional level doing records since 2004 when I first moved to Atlanta. My background is very interesting. I've come from a jazz, classical piano, church, gospel background where I kind of cut my teeth on playing organ and playing piano and playing drums in church. I also was able to enroll in certain gifted or music magnet programs down in Miami where I was born and raised ever since I was maybe about 7 or 8 years old. So music has always been a part of my life. Having said that, I took a very interesting path into the business, which was non-traditional compared to a lot of my contemporaries, a lot of my peers. What I mean by that is I went to college and I got a degree, and post that I actually worked in the school system, and I taught history for 2 years. Some of you may know my story pretty well. It wasn't the fact that, just because I got an education or I went to college and I came out and I had a job that was going to get me into the business. It doesn't really necessarily matter what you study in school. It doesn't really matter necessarily how good you are in a lot of ways. You can be very, very talented, but you can lack in certain other necessary areas that are required for you to be successful in business, in music business in particularly. But I believe that there are universal, applicable strategies and rules to being successful in all kinds of business across the board that are very relatable and very similar. So anyway, long story short, post-graduating from college, I went off by faith. My cousin Brian Michael Cox had an opportunity here in Atlanta, and he was actually successful for many years prior to me relocating here, and he would open the invitation for me to come to Atlanta whenever I wanted to. He was like, you can come here, you can, sit in the studio session, you can ask any questions you want. At the time, it was kind of hard carrying a 9-to-5 full-time job and still be able to take that drive from that. Back then, I was living in Orlando, Florida, so it would have been a 6-hour drive back and forth to Atlanta. But I did it. There were times when I did it right out of school or right out of work, leaving work at 2 o'clock and getting here at 8 o'clock in the evening just to sit in the studio for 3-4 hours. Excuse me, and leave at midnight, drive all the way from Atlanta back to Orlando just in time to get home, get a shower, get ready for class, and then teach my students the next day. And they had no idea where I was or who I was in the studio with, or the fact that I just saw T.I. or I saw Usher. They had no clue. But I was able to separate the two, and I was able to still dedicate myself in the profession that I was in, but still I was able to give myself the space to explore my craft, my gift, and that's very important. You want to be able to create an atmosphere or you want to be able to invest in yourself and create the space for you to utilize your time wisely to invest in your craft. A lot of times we say, well, I don't have the time to do this, or I'm too busy with work, or I have a family, X, Y, Z, and those things are true and those are real. But at the end of the day, whatever you want to do and whatever you want to have, you make way for it, you make time for it. That's the bottom line. So if you want it that bad, you will drive 6 hours and stay for 3 hours and then turn right back around and drive 6 hours within a 12 hours, a 13-hour span. You will do that if you want it that bad. And long story short, I had the invitation extended to move up here in 2004. Actually, 2003, the invitation came. Brian extended that invitation to me, and I told him, hey, look, hold on, let me figure some things out first. I told him, let me pray about it. I'm a really spiritual guy. Let me pray about it. Let me seek some counsel, and let me just make sure that I'm not a financial burden on you, A. B, that I'm not here just on a free ride, and C, I'm here on my own merit, on my own talent. You know what I mean? So I took a year and deferred my checks, and what that means is every 2 weeks in a 9-to-5 job, as you guys know, normally the pay time frame is about 2 weeks. I took less, or I had to withhold a certain amount from my check, and the amount that they withhold accumulated, over a time period, over a year's time period actually. And in the summer of 2004, I was able to pull from that money that I saved and relocated here in Atlanta. Even though I already had a place offered to me to stay for free, Brian was like, you can stay here at my place for free. I still was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna pay him rent. Just because it's not about me having to pay him. He didn't say you gotta pay him, but it's about me investing in my craft, investing in what I believe was my future and my calling. Long story short, within the first couple of weeks, we did a gang of records. We did a gang of tracks and a gang of songs. And I got my first placement within that first couple of weeks. Matter of fact, it was Destiny's Child it was a song called Bad Habit on Destiny's Child's last album, Destiny Fulfilled. And really the ball kind of kept rolling after that. Within that first even few weeks time frame, I came up with, me, Brian, and Adonis came up with Say Goodbye for Chris Brown, which is my first #1 Billboard #1 record. And we continued and worked throughout the years. And one thing you'll know, and at least I know after being successful at this for a while, is that you're going to have new goals. you're going to have new things that you're trying to attain. So there's no such thing as quote unquote making it and then that's it. You know, everybody has a dream to make it in the business, in the music industry, whether it's to be famous or to have a song on the radio. But even when you have that, if you really have that burning desire, there's something in you that's going to make you and drive you forward to keep, you know, keep excelling and keep building on your career. And that's the point where I'm at now, building on my career, continuing to build my legacy, and being able to give back to you guys. Some of you are on here, you are already in the business, whether you have a hit record on the radio or whatnot. I think this webinar is going to service a large diaspora of people that are just starting out, people that don't have a clue what a quarter note is, and people that's been making money in this business for years. It's going to satisfy that, and we would like for you to engage. I'm going to give you some information about what my 5 initial pillars are to music business success, and then after I do that, we can take questions and then interact with you. And anything you want to know, I'm here for you. And hopefully I can answer all of your questions. And if I can't, I promise that I'm going to go back and find out myself. But at this point, before I go on to my 5 pillars, I'm going to ask Andre if he has anything else to say. And if not, then I'll continue to go on. I see some interaction and some engagement. I don't know if you've been looking over there, Andre.
I've been checking it out, checking out the Facebook posts. Again, the Facebook post is where we'll be taking all of your questions. So facebook.com/musicbusinesssuccess. All right, there's a lot of questions in there. We're not ignoring your questions. You know, we're going through right now. Kendrick is going to give you guys some very, very important information, and just fill up the Facebook post with your questions, and we're gonna move forward with the questions once we get to that portion of it.